Well, two of Mr. Trump's cabinet picks could be in a fight for their confirmation hearings this week. Senator Sessions for Attorney General, as we just talked about a little bit, and also Rex Tillerson for the Secretary of State. Joining me now for more on this, Jessica Tarlov, a Democratic pollster and a senior political strategist for Schoen Consulting, and Mercedes Schlapp, a Republican strategist and former spokeswoman for President George W. Bush. Ladies, thanks for joining. Jessica, let's start with you as we talk about Senator Jeff Sessions. What do you think he's in for on Capitol Hill this week?
I think he's in for a tough ride, but I ultimately think that he's going to be confirmed. The numbers are with him, and he has Susan Collins, who's a very moderate Republican, introducing him, has been a huge supporter of his, and we just heard last week actually that she was against Obamacare repeal because it would defund Planned Parenthood. That's how moderate she is, and she's for Sessions. There was a cute anecdote that I read today in Time magazine about Chuck Schumer discussing how he and Jeff Sessions ride the bike next to each other in the morning while they watch Morning Joe, and they're each criticizing the other side, but they're still having a great time. So someone who's been around a long time and has a good reputation. That doesn't mean on the issues there aren't problems here, as Shannon brought up, obviously on voting rights, illegal immigration. He even wants to limit legal immigration on top of that. ACLU, NAACP sat in his office last week, in fact. But at the end of the day, it's a numbers game, and I don't see really how he's not going to get through.
Okay, so Mercedes, you know the Republicans on Capitol Hill. You know that community well. Do you see any problems with the numbers game for Sessions? Or John McCain has certainly expressed some concern, as has Lindsey Graham, about the incoming nominee for the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. Do you see any problems with the numbers?
Well, let me just start with Senator Sessions. He's obviously part of the Senate family. Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia, Democrat, is supporting him. He's had a lot of bipartisan accomplishments alongside with Senator Dick Durbin and the late Senator Ted Kennedy. He's well respected in the Senate. He will have no problem. I think with Rex Tillerson, obviously he doesn't come from a political background, so it is a little bit of an unknown. With that being said, he's incredibly respected by high-level Republicans such as former Secretary of State Condi Rice, Jim Baker. Dick Cheney came out talking favorably about him. So he does have some very some heavy hitters willing to say that he understands diplomacy, has obviously managed a multi-billion-dollar, huge company and bureaucracy.
Well, let me ask,
but the questions will be raised about Russia, obviously, for Rex Tillerson.
I'm wondering what kind of answer he needs to give to calm, because Democrats are going to have their issues regardless. But he needs to bring those Republicans really solidly on his team. Lindsey Graham, I just mentioned. Jessica,
Marco Rubio. Remember? Marco Rubio tweeted when the information came out.
What does he need to say?
I think he needs to say that he's a fan of sanctions. I think he needs to say that he supports the U.S. intelligence community over Julian Assange and Vladimir Putin. I think he needs to say the opposite of what Donald Trump has been saying these past few days. Not about Meryl Streep. He can agree about that, I guess, though I enjoyed her speech, obviously.
Okay, Mercedes, we're running out of time. Let me give you the last word.
I think for Rex, he will definitely need to address that he would be tough on Putin, that he understands how Putin will play. And actually he does, because he's had that experience in his dealings with Exxon and Russia. So but
he's also, historically though, yes, he's had that experience, but then he also said that he wasn't supportive of the sanctions, and people have said as well that there's a little bit of puppeteering going on there as well. So
those are just among some of the questions that will be asked on Capitol Hill today. Those hearings, that hearing at least, for Mr. Tillerson starts on Wednesday. So ladies, we will be watching. Jessica and Mercedes, always love having you on. Thanks.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.